So I've been touring for almost 30 years, and I put together a collection of stories from the road called Drive All Night. And I have a chapter about doing a radio live gig a few years back. I have chapters about some of the fun gigs that I've had and the interesting people I've met. Melissa Etheridge came to my show once. I've shared a stage with Amy Ray of the Indigo Girls and some other fun people. And I've also had some really interesting housing arrangements, including... Yes, see, you're already laughing. One time I shared housing with a pig. A real one, like a barnyard animal. Yeah. So I thought I'd read a chapter about one of the things that happened to me. It was Mother's Day in 2001 when my buddy Kara Barnard and I headed home after finishing our Midwest tour the night before. Plans were to drop her off at St. Louis to get her truck so she could drive her truck back to Indiana. I'd continue on by myself to North Carolina, where I lived. Stopping at a rest area just west of St. Louis, I saw a young woman dressed in khakis and a white T-shirt, oversized glasses perched on her nose, sitting on the ground, petting a relaxed tortoiseshell cat. Nearby were dishes filled with food and water. Crouching down next to the woman, I brushed my hand over the cat's soft fur and asked if she was her kitty. "No," she shyly replied. "Someone dropped her here yesterday, so I brought her something to eat." We talked for a while. The young lady spoke simply and with a small stutter. She mentioned that she was part of a crew that regularly cleaned the rest area. I asked if she could take the cat home, and she said she couldn't because she lived in a group home and they didn't accept pets. "Someday," she assured me, "I'll be able to take her home." We discussed what it might be like for a kitty to live outside in a busy public space for that long. I gave Kara a pleading look. So many strays seemed to find Kara that I figured this one was the latest. "No," she commented with a grin, "I think this one's yours." I hefted myself off the ground and headed for the payphone. My girlfriend and I only had 2 cats at the time. I explained about the abandoned kitty. She was skeptical, but finally relented. "By the way," I added, "the cat is pregnant." Her skinny frame barely supported the weight of the huge bulge around her middle. She looked like a football with legs. I walked back to the truck, the young woman behind me cradling the cat. Kara got in the driver's seat and I in the passenger side. Through the open window, the young woman handed me the kitty, her eyes sad but hopeful, and said, "Happy Mother's Day." We stopped at a store and bought a cat carrier and other supplies. A few miles later, I dropped Kara off at her truck and then continued on the 2-day drive home, my caged companion on the seat beside me. My mantra with every mile was, "Please don't have your kittens yet. Please don't have your kittens yet." Fortunately, she listened to me and had 6 healthy babies a week after I got her home. I named her Emily, short for Emelita Sita Bita Boo. She prefers the short version, mostly because the long form has its own ridiculous song. She doesn't like my music, especially my music, but she's a cat, so I try not to take offense. All the same, I named a song after her, mostly because she was crying the whole time I was writing it. Maybe she was penning lyrics. She missed the deadline. Cats are so bad with deadlines. So I recorded the song as an instrumental. We found homes for 4 of the babies, keeping one for ourselves and one for Kara, who'd promised to take a kitten back when we found Emily. Her kitten, Maggie, appears on the cover of my album, Listen. She jumped into the photo shoot while dashing madly about the house, chasing her sister. I'm glad I listened to my conscience and brought Emily home. I still have Emily and one of her babies, Zoe. I think Emily likes my music a little more, or maybe in her older years, she just can't hear it as well. She still stinks at deadlines unless it has something to do with dinner.